We have written separate sections for every nation. For every nation, we have made a separate book. So we will be giving it to those nations or whoever the representatives of those nations, and from then again I fly back to Riyadh, and from there I ride down to UAE, Muscat, and from Muscat I'm taking a boat with my motorcycle and a 2.5 day trip to Indian coast. From there I'm riding for another 25 days.
That sounds incredibly relaxing.
I'm 65, I hope I survive. I thought before I'm too old and no good for anything, I must do this because as a generation, if we don't do this, this is not going to be good. I'm not a doomsayer, but I'm saying we are in a situation where if we act now, we can turn this around. This is our challenge. This is our responsibility, and this is also our privilege that we have the opportunity to turn around such a massive irregularity that we have created in the carbon chain. See, when you utter the word carbon today, a whole lot of people who are just reading textbooks, if you say carbon, they think it's some kind of poison, because they think carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, whatever. But we are all carbon life. We are all carbon life. Every life that you see, whether it's a worm, insect, bird, animal, tree, you and me, we are all carbon life. Carbon is life. So this is a carbon chain that is going on. If you break one link of the chain will fall apart. Right now, the soil is one link that we are breaking very badly. If you break this, the life chain that is going on right now could be broken or at least seriously damaged.
So what about our dependence on fossil fuels? Because that is also a way of breaking the chain, isn't it? That we're taking carbon that has been stored in concentrated form in the ground for millennia, and we take that and we combust that and bring it out into the atmosphere, and that enhances tremendously and disrupts this whole cycle, doesn't it?
It definitely does. Not that it is not there, it is very much there. But right now, the way we have structured the world, we can't stop that tomorrow morning, all right? It will take time. People can talk as much as they want. It may take another 30 to 50 years before we make a significant turnaround in that area. But the nature of the soil is such that if we are willing, if all of us are determined, if the governments make the policies, in the next anywhere between 6 to 12 years, we can make a significant turnaround. And soil accounts for 40% of the climate change.
It's really fascinating to me, I think, when I start thinking about, initiatives like this. And, one thing I've always loved about you, Sadhguru, is you're very optimistic but solution-based. And I think that, because you're not a doomsayer, but I also think that it's important for people to realize the importance of educating themselves and the responsibility they have to do that. Because we say that we can turn it around in 16 years doesn't mean that it will be if we do nothing about it. And I think that's something that I'm learning along the way just from speaking to you and actually speaking to Gustav as well and doing my own research is just like how important it is for my generation and the younger generations to take it upon themselves as a moral obligation to our planet to educate themselves as best they can on these scenarios.
It's very important, but right now, the most important thing is, see, whether it is going to happen in the next 8–10 years or not is still a question mark. I'm not denying that. But if it gets instituted in the policy now, see, as a part of this, what we have done is, we have written to all the heads of state, the letters are in the process of being delivered, and we have written to 730 political parties on the planet. Because we are telling them, in your election manifestos, you must make soil and ecology an important part of your election manifesto, depending on your nation, your economic condition, whatever, but you must do this. Why this is so easy? See, once it gets instituted in the policy of a nation, if they have money, they may start tomorrow. If they don't have money, they must do it slowly. If they're lazy, they will do it after 5 years. But it is bound to happen once it's in the policy. If it's not in the policy, it will be ad hoc, something here and there will be done, but the real thing will not happen. Now I'm talking about, like there are building laws in a urban area, we need agricultural laws where if you own agricultural land, minimum 3 to 6% organic content must be there. Initially give them incentives, nudge them to do it. As things get worse, we have to make it mandatory. It's going to happen anyway, all right? When things get bad, when food production gets hit, it will happen. But the reverse that can happen is, as already some of the agencies, UN agencies are speaking about, is to bridge the food shortages that will inevitably come after 2030. They're talking about making GMO crops the only way to do cropping in most of the countries, because they want to bridge that food crisis. When there is no food, eat some damn food. That is the philosophy. I agree with them, when there is no food, you have to eat something, that's fine. But that bridge will last only for 20 to 25 years. After that, when we crash, that will be a real crash, that will be a very bad crash. So the more sensible thing will be to enrich the soil. We are not advocating any particular kind of farming. It is for the farmer to decide what kind of farming he wants to do. But we are just asking, keep the soil alive for yourself and future generations. For this you need 3 to 6% organic content. Only then the soil will stay alive, otherwise soil will become sand.
Can I ask you, Sadhguru, do you think most farmers, just out of curiosity, do you think, or at least from the people you've spoken to, do you think they know that, or do you think, and are ignoring it, or do you think that they're not even aware that soil needs 3 to 6% organic content in it?
I have lived on the farms in India. Every farmer knew this 40 years ago, 50 years ago. There was simply no question. Everybody knew this. Whether they understood 3%, 6% or not, that's not the point. But if they took soil in their hand, they would always feel for the organic content, whether it's there or not. So they knew, and they always practiced that. Because India is the land where we have had organized agriculture for over 12,000 years. Probably the longest in the world. So 12,000 years we maintained and managed our soil richness, but in 40 to 50 years we've destroyed it, all right? Why this has happened is, somebody told them there is a better idea, all this picking up of dung and picking up bullshit, this picking up dung and putting into the land is all bullshit. So I will give you a magic powder, just throw it, everything will be fantastic. And it was. For some 3 to 8 years' time it worked in most lands. You threw the fertilizer and boom, everything came up like never before, all right? So, now they are paying the price after 15, 20, 25 years of fertilizer usage, and now the costs are simply going up to such a point that over 300,000 farmers in India have committed suicide in the last 20 years. Even in United States, people tell me that in the last 12 years, 50% of the American farmers have not seen $1 of profit, okay? And the highest number of suicides in America, of all the professions, it is the farmers.
That is devastating.
So the farmer always knew, but now he's forgotten because somebody to sell whatever they want to sell has advised him. But at the same time, I'm not against fertilizer, I'm not against pesticide, I'm not against anything. All I'm saying is, let's keep the soil as a living entity for ourselves and future generations. This is a must.
But isn't some of the means in order to do that to decrease fertilizers and pesticides?
See, it's the other way around. If you increase the organic content, the need for fertilizer and pesticide will come down by itself. So I'm saying first increase the organic content. See, right now, suppose you take away all the fertilizer from the planet. Your food production in the world will go down by 50 to 60%. Take away all the pesticides and fertilizers together, then your food production will go to something like 25 to 30% of what it is right now. So let us not talk about that. You cannot remove those things right now. This is all fanciful things, you do your house garden,